everybody, this is Tim W. Leathertachi 1996, and welcome to episode 17 of Godzilla Effects. We're still in season 2, technically. Well, season 2, episode 2. And here we have Godzilla vs. BIOLLANTE from 1989. Now, I just got done watching the special features on this, actually. I watched the movie last night, and I just got done watching the making of and the behind the design bonus features that are on the DVD release. And I will say this was a really good, really awesome Godzilla movie. Like the second franchise here is where Godzilla gets so much better. I really did love this one. I mean, I loved this one just as much as I loved 1984. And there's so much I gotta talk about with this movie, because after watching the behind the scenes footage, there was like a lot of there's stuff that was cut out of this movie that are really worth mentioning, but I will mention them when that particular screenshot pops up. And I do love the poster. Like, I'm dead serious. I really do love the poster. I found this poster again without the text on it, and I wanted to use that one, but I don't know why. I just like it when it has the name. And Godzilla has a new look in this movie. The poster, literally, folks, the poster holds true. That is exactly what he looks like in this movie. He's more bulky. Well, he's been trapped in a volcano for 5 years. So, yeah. And his enemy, BIOLLANTE, it's a fresh new enemy that we have not seen in the franchise yet. It's very original. Well, I guess semi-original. Like, what was it? I guess the BIOLLANTE, it's an original idea, but when I mean semi-original is because BIOLLANTE is literally a cross between Godzilla and a rose. I'm not kidding, it's literally a clone of Godzilla, just mixed with a plant, mixed with a rose, a flower. It's a very odd idea to, like, and this isn't the first time this is actually the first time Godzilla was cloned through genetic engineering. It was the idea, the thing where BIOLLANTE comes from is it's very odd. Oh, here we go. This is literally the first thing you see in the movie. Like, no joke. This shot right before the title comes up, and actually when the title comes up, it's actually really cool. This is literally the first thing you see in the movie, and what the movie does is that this movie's a direct sequel to 1984. It was made 5 years later. It takes place 5 years later, and the way the movie opens up, it plays scenes from 1984, just like some of the final destruction scenes when he attacks Tokyo right before he falls in the volcano in 1984. Very sad scene. But the apocalyptic dark tone of the movie of what Godzilla in 1984 established is totally gone. It has this very adventurous tone to the film, and already we see a great piece of special effects work right here. I mean, the Godzilla suit looks great. It has a lot of detailing on it. The fire behind him, the actual fire behind him, looks super good. I don't know if that fire was green. No, that fire cannot have been green screened. It can't have been, because usually with Toho, when they do explosions, the fire's right next to it, right next to the suit. So there's no way that fire was green screen. If it's a green screen, it's a damn good green screen. And here in this movie, Godzilla, they said in behind the scenes that Godzilla is more animalistic in this movie, and he truly is. He behaves a lot more like like a animal acting on instinct in this movie, because in 1984 he acted out of like pure evil, I guess. Like he acted out of pure evil, but in this movie he acts on aggressiveness like an animal. But I love the suit design. It has a lot of good detailing on it. I don't know. There's not much to really say about this first shot here, other than it's like the burning miniature set behind him and the suit design. It looks really well detailed. I really do like his. I really do love his new look. I mean, 1984's look was very. I mean, I don't know. The look was good, but this movie's a lot better. I mean, this movie improved 5 years on 1984 here. And also, as much as I really do love this movie, there's about 5 special effects cons that I found with this movie. Oh, and here's BIOLLANTE, by the way. This is the first form that she, and yes, it's a she, because they said that BIOLLANTE is a mix of. There's also a mix of human. The main scientist in the movie who created this thing put some of his own daughter's cells in here to keep her spirit alive or something like that. It's really odd the way they explain this monster's origin. But in one effects pro that I really gotta give here before I get to my first effects con. In the first effects con, it's not with the monsters, but it's with the people at the beginning of the movie. There's this really cool transition, and it looks so smooth. It's like they show the people, and then the camera pans up to this. And it's a really very smooth transition. Like, you can't tell that it went from people to miniature, and then it goes from miniature to the dock where the main character is. Like, the great compositing here happens twice. It's super good. Now, my first effects con that I have with this movie, it's not with the monsters, but with the people, actually. There's one bit where it's like, they have this whole thing with these genetic engineering corporations that try to steal this nuclear bacteria that they're trying to use to kill Godzilla throughout this entire movie. And they go to this lab in this Middle Eastern country called Seradia, and they blow up the laboratory and destroy. I guess like they try to destroy the piece of the Godzilla cells, they call them, which is really a piece of Godzilla's skin that was found in 1984. And it's like, you think of how many times Godzilla gets shot at, you think that, yeah, there are going to be pieces of him that come flying off. But anyways, at the lab scene at the beginning of the movie, there's one of the companies called BioMajor destroys the Seradian lab where the Godzilla cells are kept, and it's blown up with a bomb. I mean, it would have been better in the scene if they would have just showed the explosion, but the camera shake that happens just, oh my god. It's like 2 of the human characters are just sitting there chatting, and when the bomb, you hear the bomb explosion, but you don't see it, and then when the camera shakes, it just does this bounce. It just does this one little bounce, and that's it. Like, they could have done, it just didn't look good. It just did not look good. That's my first effects pro. My first effects con. Sorry, not pro. Oh, this is a cool shot. This is where Godzilla comes out of Mount Mahara from the last movie, and it's a really, really cool scene because like they show Godzilla a couple of times like in the volcano, but the company BioMajor does this crazy thing with Godzilla where it's like they put explosives on the volcano, and they're like, oh, if you don't give us the nuclear bacteria, we're gonna let Godzilla out. And they almost stop it. They almost keep him from getting out. It's so close. It's so close. But then one of the other engineering companies gets in the way and messes everything up, and then the explosives go off anyways. So it's like they try to like, okay, okay, keep Godzilla in the volcano, don't let him out, but for the sake of the movie, he has to come back. Like, seriously. But the effect of him coming out of the volcano with all the explosions and him slowly walking out, and it was just so funny that the miniature that they used for this, in slowing the footage down, like literally all the fire and everything was happening at normal speed, which was really, really fast, and then you slow the footage down and it gives this really amazing effect of all these big explosions and Godzilla walking out of the volcano. It is super good, and they play his theme song while this is happening. So this is a really great scene in this movie. It's like it's a nice nostalgia moment, like, yay, Godzilla's back. Okay. What was it? My other my second effects con with this movie is I should have said this when BIOLLANTE was in the shot. When I showed that shot there. There's this weird thing with the audio where the audio falls out of sync when one of BIOLLANTE's vines, literally they're vines, but they're like Venus flytraps, you know, the plant that's got teeth. They scream. They scream. I'm not kidding. Since BIOLLANTE's part animal, everything that's got a mouth on it screams on that creature. And there's just one bit where the audio falls out of sync with the footage. It just looks weird. Where, yeah, like I said, the audio falls out of sync in it. I don't know. It's like it tried to catch up. Oh yeah, that's my other effects. That's my other effects con. Because it's a really odd little bit. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to catch, but once you catch it, it's there. Oh, and here we go. Once again, we have the Godzilla films are using CG, and actually, this scene here, this is right after he leaves the volcano, and he goes into in the Uraga Channel, and you got the usual military shooting at, you got the military warship shooting at him, and then there's this, I think this is the shot right here where, yeah, it is, he shoots at a battleship that was shooting at him, and the explosion for it slowed down is super good. I mean, this whole the battle at sea scene is super cool. I love like the CGI here. Like, you could tell it's CG, and it just looks really cool, actually. It's like the fact that they're using CGI at this point in the franchise, they're using CG in the movies, is really well done. Now, also, remember I mentioned the weapon from last week called Super X? Well, here in this movie, they have Super X2. There's a second Super X in this movie, which looks really... Actually, it does look a lot better. It looks like something out of Starship Troopers, really. But Godzilla in this movie, he's a partial dumbass. He's a partial dumbass in this movie, because it's like, they said, because the Super X2 has this weapon called the Fire Mirror, and the Fire Mirror is if Godzilla shoots at it, the Fire Mirror is gonna shoot it back, gonna bounce it back at him, and Godzilla keeps shooting at it. It's like, okay, he knows it's gonna shoot right back at him. Why does he keep shooting at it? That's what I mean. Godzilla's in that one scene. He's kind of an idiot. He's kind of an idiot where he keeps doing that over and over again. But my third effects con is actually with that, because there's some points where the green, it comes out green. It shoots back at him in a green heat ray, where it goes behind him instead of in front of him. Like, it goes all over the place. It either goes behind him or it misses him entirely when it's shooting at him. When it shoots right back at him, which is really odd. It just looks like it goes all over the place instead of just straight at Godzilla. And then also, when he damages Super X2, like, of course, Godzilla, they unleash a new weapon and Godzilla damages it like no tomorrow. There's this one bit where his tail hits it, that basically is the end of Super X2 for right now. And his tail looks like it misses. Like, it looks like it misses Super X entirely, and it doesn't even look like it hits him at all. Like, quite honestly. Oh, and one
Oh, and here we go. This scene here, there's a lot of shots, a lot of close-up shots of Godzilla's face. What's so funny? This was actually a separate animatronic that they made for close-ups of for the close-up shots. Like you have the full-on suit, and then you have this little puppet, this little animatronic that they have for the close-ups, and it blends really well. It truly does. The blending is really well done in all respect. And there's a couple of effects pros that I really wish they would have kept in this movie. There's on behind the scenes they showed a lot of scenes that were deleted, and there was one scene when this was actually what's so funny. This was before this whole battle at sea thing happens right before Godzilla meets Biollante for the first time, and they get in this really great fight where Godzilla just burns Biollante. I mean, sets her on fire. It is very gruesome. It's not gruesome, but it's like, oh my god, Godzilla's an ass. Oh my god, Godzilla's an ass. It's like I don't know. It's like he has to just murder every enemy he comes across. Hence his serious aggression in this movie. And there's two after this whole battle at sea thing. It's like there's this one great scene that I can't believe they cut out of this movie. But they show him like walking through the trees, heading towards the lake where Biolante's standing, literally just standing there. And they play the song from. They play Mechagodzilla's theme from Terror of Mechagodzilla while Godzilla's walking through the trees. It looks like a really good scene. It was a good shot. I can't believe they cut that out. It was a nice little nostalgia moment for fans, and it's like, I can't believe they cut that out. And the miniature tree set looked great. It really did. Even though it was cut from the movie, the miniature lake and the trees, it looks really good. It looks very super well detailed. And there's another scene. I'm gonna actually talk about the next scene that was cut. You know what's funny? Everybody. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, but there's supposed to be a stop motion scene in this movie. Like I said, I'll wait till the next screenshot comes up, but let me talk about this animatronic head. Now, just like the suit, the head is also very well. This puppet head is very well detailed. Also, I really do, and I like how there's two different scale patterns on Godzilla. Like you have his skin on his dorsal surface, and then on his neck and his lower jaw, there's like a different scale pattern. Oh, here we go. This is right here when Godzilla and Biollante first fight, and Godzilla just shoots the hell out of Biollante with his atomic breath. I mean, he shoots her, burns her, and oh my god, he's evil. I mean, I guess like Biollante was trying to help Godzilla or something like that, or kill him or something, or whatever the heck. And the thing is, Biollante struck first, and Godzilla was just reacting out of self-defense, basically. So there's that whole bit. But there's one scene that I cannot believe that they cut out of this movie. Was after Godzilla burns Biollante, literally sets her on fire. And then they clearly show like her final form, which I will get to way at the end of this. I'll get to. And these are the Blu-ray screenshots, by the way. Like, these are the super high definition screenshots that I found. Like I said, the scene right after Godzilla burns Biollante to the ground and her pollen, her spores start flying, literally going up in the air. It's really odd. The science behind the creep behind Biollante is just weird. There's a scene where all these spores were supposed to scatter all over the lake, all over the hills and everything in the lake, and these giant flowers were supposed to bloom right on wherever the spores touch the ground, and it was supposed to. And Godzilla has this. I don't know. He just had this moment where, the guy who played as Godzilla in this suit, Ken Satsuma, he did a great job. I love his performance as Godzilla in this movie. and in 1984 also. He in this movie here, he gives Godzilla a very, I don't know, his performance as a very aggressive creature. I love Satsuma's performance as Godzilla, and but the flower scene was so sad. It was actually a good character trait for Godzilla. I can't believe they cut out of the movie because it showed Godzilla had a feeling of regret for killing Biollante. Like, for once, Godzilla actually has feelings. It's a very heartfelt scene. I can't believe it sucks they cut it out of the movie. It really does. I can't believe I could not get a screenshot of this. It really sucks I couldn't, because it's a beautiful, well done scene. And it's like Godzilla feels this heavy amount of regret after defeating Biollante. And he looks around and he calmly walks out of the lake. It's a very heartfelt scene that I wish they would have kept in the movie, because it was, I don't know, it was such a good character to personality trait for Godzilla that that the film really needed. Like, seriously, it really needed that scene. But it sucks. They cut it, which they should have kept it in the movie. And here we go with this is the city of Osaka right here. And what's so funny is the guy who one of the set designers, the director for the supervisor, I mean, for the design of the miniatures set here. What's so funny is the guy said that he lived in Osaka, so he made sure that Osaka was like how the city is in reality, and except he did a few changes to fit Godzilla in the set, but he made the miniature Osaka as authentic as possible. Like when Godzilla walks through the rivers were actually in the city at that time. I don't know if they still are. And when Godzilla destroys Osaka, it's super cool. Like, it's so, like, him destroying a city, I don't know why. It's been seen so many times, and yet it looks great. Just in this movie, it really does. It looks so cool, and then Super X gets in this. Then once again, Godzilla fights Super X too. Very reminiscent of last week's movie. And the next screenshot that I have that'll come up here in a minute. That'll come up here in a couple minutes. There's this really great like tracking shot of Godzilla. It's a low angle shot. Tons of explosions going off. Now, the miniature Osaka looks really realistic for a 1989 miniature. I love the design. It looks super real. I really like the set looks really good, and the explosions, Godzilla destroying the buildings. It looks really great. It actually looks good. Now, the other thing that I gotta say, there was one. Now, I gotta go back to the lake fight between Godzilla and Biollante, because there's one bit where, there's one bit where they were going to use stop motion for the fight, because the effects director wanted the fight to look vicious, so he did they did the stop motion scene where all the vines were just coming at Godzilla one after another, and Godzilla was beating them back, knocking him, and he hits one with his tail and grabs another one and throws it, and then fights them back or whatever. It was a great little stop motion bit, but it didn't match the rest of the movie, so they had to cut it out. Oh, and this is the cinematic tracking shot here, where you got the low angle, great detail on the suit, explosions all over. Like I said, there's explosions everywhere. You know, this is a really cool. It's a really cool shot. Seriously, this really is. And what was it? Like I was saying with the stop motion bit, it didn't match the rest of the movie because there was no splashing water. There was the lack of splashing water, and the lighting was different. So it's easy to see why that got removed. It really is. But it's still cool to see anyway, even though it's only about 30 seconds long. Not even 30 seconds, like 45 seconds or whatever. But anyways, back to this. There's this cool, actually, the end of the Osaka attack after there's this actually before I even get to that there's this really cool green screen where one of the main characters when Godzilla sadly kills him by destroying this one building, like they inject the nuclear bacteria into Godzilla's body, because in the way the bacteria works is like it works the same way that there's bacteria that eats oil spills or whatever, and there's this and they came up with the idea where it's like they came up with bacteria that eats up nuclear waste or something like that if there's a nuclear accident. So they decided to use it on Godzilla, who eats nuclear power, so that would be the way to kill him. So they shoot like two shells into Godzilla, like one in his side and another in his leg or whatever. And then one of the main characters shoots a shell full of it directly at Godzilla's mouth, and there's this really cool green screen. This was one effects pro I really enjoyed. There's this really cool green screen of Godzilla coming towards the guy. Sorry, he was coming towards him, and he looks right at him. It's a really great little shot where it's like Godzilla interacting with the human characters. It was a well done green screen, and the whole bit of him, each little piece of footage, the editing blends so well, like getting the shell with the bacteria shot in his mouth and everything, and then it cuts to the puppet, having the smoke coming out of his mouth. It blends really well. Like the editing for the special effects is really, and I'm sorry if you hear that beeping in the background. I don't know why there's that beeping back there. I don't know why. I hope it stops. Oh, and here we go. This was the scene I was just talking about. This is right before Godzilla does this roar right before the guy shoots the bacteria shell in his mouth. And here we get to see more detail of Godzilla's face, and what's so cool is the inside of his mouth. I love that his mouth has like a very like it's more wet in his mouth. It has this wetness to it, because in 1984 it looked dry. I mean, it had good mouth detail, but it looked really dry. But in this movie, it's all wet and disgusting in his mouth. And then you got like 2 rows of teeth. He's got a double row of teeth, like a shark actually, which is really cool. Dang, sorry. They put so much attention to detail. It's like now Toho is like trying to make Godzilla big again, make Godzilla great again, kind of thing. That's kind of the philosophy that they're sticking with here, and it's just so funny. Like I don't know. It's just so funny. He's got these. You notice like he's got these ears. Those are his ears on the side of his head, which is really odd. Because usually reptiles don't have ears. They have like there's just a hole on the side of their head, which is what their ear is. But Godzilla actually has ears. Like look at the little thing on the side of his head there. It's a very interesting design choice, but it actually works well with the design for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. It works so well with the design. There's really not much to say about this shot other than great detailing on the puppet and also the inside of the mouth. Oh my god, that beeping is really starting to get annoying. It really is, folks. Sorry if you guys can hear that in the back. And also if you hear that grinding noise outside, that's because outside we got the HOA guys are going around doing the front yards. So yeah. Now the end of the Osaka attack is really cool. It's actually an idea that was looked like anyway, an idea that was brought back from 1954, actually, from way back in the first movie, in the very first Godzilla movie, where Godzilla was supposed to be in the scene where he shows up over the hill on Odo Island, where he was supposed to become obscured behind smoke, and Godzilla's supposed to disappear behind the smoke. Well, in the Osaka attack, Godzilla does that. They show him from behind, and he disappears behind the smoke, and it's a really, really cool shot. In here is Biolante's, like, her final form. Oh my god. This puppet, I think this thing was a puppet. There's no way this thing was a guy in a suit, was somebody in a suit, because in the behind the scenes, it didn't show nobody going in there, and it did not say that Biollante was a suit. This thing, it took 20 people to control her. 20 people! And actually, in the very last screenshot, you'll notice Biolante's actually bigger than Godzilla. Like, Godzilla's, like, the second enemy that's actually been taller than Godzilla, which is insane. But I love the detailing on Biollante. It's so, like, it's hideous, actually. And the crocodile-looking mouth, I love that part. And the fact that the roof of her mouth is covered in teeth and all kinds of mess. I mean, her final form is super cool. It's so detailed, and the execution is making her look bulky, and oh my god, it's so cool to watch. But there's a scene in this movie, there's two shots actually, it happens twice, where this thing moves. I'm serious, like, literally, it's a plant. You'd think that because she's part plant, you would think that she would remain stationary like she did during the first battle. But no, not this time. She charges at Godzilla, and the effects director said they thought about that right in the middle of filming. He said, he literally admitted that was an oh my god, that beeping noise. Oh my god, that's getting so annoying. Anyways, the effects director literally said that Biollante charging at Godzilla by, like, moving the roots or something like that, they literally thought about that right on the spot. It was literally, not even in the script, it was an on the spot idea. And it looks so cool when you see it because it's so unexpected. Like, you don't expect her to do that. But that's why it's so great, because it's so unexpected. Now, other great pieces of effects work that I really like is, remember in last week's movie where they had, like, the laser tanks? Well, in this movie they have the laser tanks again, except they look more futuristic. And the effects director said those weren't in the script either. They just were thrown in there to make it cooler, to make the movie cooler. And it really does. I love... Oh, and here... See, look how much bigger Biollante is compared to Godzilla. It is just... wow. And the final fight is actually very short. It's mainly just Godzilla, shooting the crap out of Biollante again, and then you see, it's actually a great effect when Biollante, like, gets blasted apart. Like, you see green blood go everywhere. There's some blood and gore with the monsters in this movie. And there's this crazy bit where one of her vines goes straight through Godzilla's hand, and Godzilla has to yank it out, and it bites him in the shoulder. Like, the final monster battle here, it's getting a little more violent. Like, they're putting a little more blood and gore in this movie. And like I was saying, like I said with the laser tanks, that's another great piece of effects work because it's something new, it's original, it's like a new tank design, and it looks very sci-fi-ish. And literally those 4 people standing there, those are the main 4 human characters in this movie, and the 5th one is, like, way off screen somewhere. But seriously, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, as much as Godzilla has a lot of detail on it, I'm sorry to say this, but Biollante has more detail. Like, Biollante has a lot more detail than Godzilla does. And it's just so funny, like, a cross between a plant and Godzilla. Like, like, when I mean semi-original idea, it's like, okay, crossing animal and plant, okay, that's a great concept. But the fact that it's a Godzilla clone is kind of like, Like, really? Couldn't you have used a different? Couldn't you have used a different animal? Like, couldn't you have used a different creature instead of Godzilla? I guess I don't know. Oh my god, I'm sorry if you keep hearing that damn beeping in the back. I don't know why that thing keeps. When I get done with it, when I get done with this, when I get done here with this review, I'll go and check it out. Like Jesus, it's just super annoying. Anyways, if you don't hear it, then great. But if you do, sorry, sorry about that. Um, yeah. Anyways, like the final monster battle is actually really short. It's like, the nuclear bacteria inside Godzilla starts affecting him, and he collapses on the beach. And then BIOLLANTE, because she's been shot up so many times here by Godzilla, she turns into the spores and goes into the atmosphere or whatever. Like her pollen goes in the atmosphere. And there's this really good effect of the main character's daughter, who's the guy off to the left, where his daughter, you see his daughter's face show up in the pollen or whatever, and it goes into space. It's a really great like spirit effect. But let me get back. I'm back at the poster here. Now, overall, Godzilla vs. BIOLLANTE. The science behind BIOLLANTE. It's very interesting. The couple deleted scenes that I mentioned, BIOLLANTE's flowers and Godzilla feeling regret, and also the Godzilla walking through the trees to the Mechagodzilla theme from 1975. I can't. Those two scenes should have been in the movie. They really should have, because it would have given Godzilla more character. It was good character build up, I'd say, for him. And it just sucks that those two scenes were cut. Like the science, like I said, the science behind BIOLLANTE, as explained in the movie, it's really odd. It's really interesting. It's really odd. You really have to like try to understand it. And overall, like the effects in this movie were really great. And then, actually, my next effects con that I have with this movie is there is one bit where the Seradian agent tries to flip over the car. He tries to like flip the car over, and then his car flips over at the end of the movie, and they could have done it way better. Like it didn't look like, when it fell down this hill at the very end, it didn't look like it would have been damaged that much, but they beat it up and everything so it looks more damaged than what it already looked. They could have done that way better. Well, anyways, everybody, Godzilla vs. BIOLLANTE, I'm gonna give this movie this movie deserves a solid, I'm gonna say this is a good, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. Because the effects in this movie, with the exception of my 5 cons, the effects in this movie are really, really good. It's just the 2 deleted scenes would have added a little more to this movie, effects wise as well as effects wise. So I'm giving this movie an 8 out of 10. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed me rambling about this movie for almost 40 minutes. For about, just about 38 and a half minutes. Please subscribe to not only this channel, but to Magus Dragon, who made the awesome new logo for Season 2 here. And also, please subscribe to the Movie Reviews Library, because Magus Dragon and my boy Alan are with me on that channel. The links to Magus Dragon's channel and the Movie Reviews Library will be in the description below here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next week with the next Godzilla film in the Heisei franchise. Okay, what keeps on making that noise out here? Is it this? It had to have been this. I don't know what keeps on, I don't know what kept on. You all heard that, right? Okay. Okay, let's wait. Let's wait a couple of. Let's wait a couple of seconds. I think it's this one. I think it was this one. It's either this here or that thing there. Or it could have been that thing on the wall right there. I don't know if you all can see that. There's 3 places that noise could have come from. Oh. Oop. Yep, just heard it. I am so confused. Where is that noise coming from? If you guys, okay, okay, I don't know if you guys heard that during the review, through the door, but I clearly heard it, and it's like, it was kind of getting annoying while I was reviewing Godzilla vs. BIOLLANTE here, this week. I'm trying to pinpoint where that sound, came from. I think it's this, actually. Yep. Nope, that sounded like it was coming from... Is it? I'm pretty sure it's that one. Okay, well... Okay, I don't know... Okay, I don't know where that was coming from. So, anyways, peace out, everybody, and I will see you, like I said in the review, I will see you all next week with the next Godzilla film in the Heisei franchise. So, peace out, everybody. See you guys next week.